David Litt is a former Barack Obama speechwriter. I've interviewed him on the program. Really interesting guy to talk to. You can check out the YouTube archives or the website archives to find my interview with David Litt. David Litt was invited to Newsmax yesterday, presumably to talk about Elon Musk's hosting of Saturday Night Live on Saturday evening. And it went very similarly to the Fox News clip we looked at earlier of Randy Weingarten calling out Fox News while on Fox News. David Litt went on Newsmax and he called them out because of their deceptive and outrageous coverage of the 2020 election. And I have to tell you, this was done so expertly and it starts so subtly. It's introduced so smoothly that it actually takes a second for the Newsmax host to even realize what's going on. David Litt says, yeah, Saturday Night Live, they wrote stuff that wasn't true and they said it to their audience in comedy format, of course. And that's what Newsmax did with the 2020 election coverage over the last several months. It just wasn't comedy. And this is how it went.
This one, David Litt, good morning. Welcome into Wake Up America. Nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
I did not watch Saturday Night Live. I watched the clips. The show's on too late. Quite frankly, I don't think it's that funny anymore. What'd you think of Elon Musk's performance? This is the first time since 2015 we've had a non-athlete, non-entertainer on the show. The last person to do that and do well with great ratings, our former president, Donald Trump.
Well, Rob, it's a great question. I mean, what happened on SNL this weekend was that people made stuff up and then said it on television like it's true. And that actually happens pretty frequently in American TV. For example, in 2020, Dominion Voting Systems sued Newsmax over its false claims about election fraud. Newsmax was lying to its own viewers, and Newsmax had to settle that lawsuit. So actually, I just need to check in. Are you still telling that lie, or are you telling new lies?
Wait, are we talking about, I'm sorry, David, do you want to talk about something completely non-related and try to catch me on a Monday morning totally off topic, or do you want to talk about Elon Musk?
I just love the reference from the host to Monday morning. David Litt, on a Tuesday afternoon, this would be acceptable. How dare you try this on me on a Monday morning? And this is actually something that's done really frequently. When a host is pushed up against a wall or made uncomfortable, they often will go back to, this isn't what we booked you to talk about. I've sometimes done this as a guest. Sometimes guests, when the guest is sandbagged, the guest will say, you didn't book me to talk about this. And it's a rhetorical crutch. You just have to be prepared for how to handle it. Unless you've agreed not to talk about something, you just have to be prepared as the host or as the guest. I've had situations, we've had maybe 2 or 3 situations where a guest or their publicist will say, listen, please don't ask about X because there's ongoing litigation, just can't comment on it, and it's going to bring the interview to a halt. And of course, I have the option as the host of saying, well, I will ask about it, but the guest can say I'm not able to talk about that right now. Or it might not even really be a central topic, and I would say, oh yeah, that's not the topic of the interview anyway. I've been on shows where they give me a list of 8 topics and say, we might talk about these things. And I have said before, I don't know anything about topic number 5. So I'd rather not talk about it. If you ask me, I'll just say, I don't know about that, so I'm not the right person to ask. And we sort of come to an agreement. Other than that, it's basically just a rhetorical game. And sometimes when a guest will turn around and start asking the host questions, the host will do the, I'm asking the questions here. You're here as my guest. And then it's just sort of like a battle of rhetoric. There's no set rules about this. It's really up for interpretation. And here the host really comes off like a loser, quite frankly. Let's continue.
Well, I can see why you don't want to talk about Dominion Voting Systems, because if you do, Newsmax could get sued and lose billions of dollars because these are live.
David, that's fine, David. I know this is a very funny moment for you. I'm sure you didn't sleep last night as you prepared to sort of try and get the morning anchor on Newsmax. I'd be happy to talk with you about whatever you want to talk about. Obviously, it's not the topic that we have set up for right now. So if you'd like to talk about Saturday Night Live, I will do that with you. But obviously, I'm not going to talk about anything else right now. So you decide right now, in this moment on live television. Go ahead.
Did Dominion Voting Systems have any impact on the 2020 election?
Oh, that's unfortunate because I was really excited about this interview. I didn't watch SNL on Saturday night, but I thought Elon Musk did an okay job. And he also said that he's got Asperger's. So I thought that was a fascinating component of the monologue. So, David, we look forward to having him back on very soon again. That was a stellar interview. David Litt, thanks so much for joining us. We'll be right back.
So yeah, just cutting off the interview. And it reminds me, by the way, the mention of Asperger's, or as the host says, Asperger's, there's a reason we no longer say Asperger's and instead say, high functioning autism or low severity autism spectrum disorder. Dr. Hans Asperger did work linked to Nazism, Nazi child psychiatry. There's a debate because Asperger himself, I guess, was a resistor to the Nazis. But many children that were identified by him as having so-called Asperger's were subsequently killed by Nazis. So I was actually surprised that Elon Musk even used that term to describe his own condition. Maybe that's a topic for another day. I like what David Litt did here. It did get cut off pretty quickly, but there's really no other way to pierce the Newsmax filter bubble. Because otherwise, you can talk about Newsmax on other channels, but going on Newsmax and doing it there, I think it's fantastic. I loved it. For me, it's perfect for a Monday morning. Monday morning is like the perfect day to do what David Litt did. And quite frankly, it was kind of funnier than a lot of recent Saturday Night Live skits. I've not been super impressed with SNL recently. Nice job by David Litt, and hopefully we'll have more of these upcoming.